What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Sean Anthony Live. This interview has been long overdue, man. Me and this gentleman have been going back and forth a little bit over a year now. He is the CEO and the owner of the clothing line Fortune Over Fame, Mr. Raheem Ewan. Now,
Mr. Anthony,
good to see you, man.
good to be seen, brother.
Hey, let's talk about your journey, but real quick, you just flew back into Ohio. You're in Florida now, right?
That's correct.
So,
That's correct.
being from Ohio, what made you transition down to Florida?
Oh, man, that's a loaded question with a loaded answer. So, my father moved from Jamaica to New York, and most New Yorkers eventually get tired of the weather, so he moved from New York to Florida. And I would go down to Florida all the time to visit him. I even did some business in Florida before I moved down. Anyway, when I would go down on the flight back, I'm like, man, I would love to live down here. It was just talk. I knew nothing about it as far as the cost of living and how to actually make it happen. Years past, I was in a certain role with PNC Bank, and there was an opportunity in Fort Lauderdale. I spoke to my father about it. He was like, man, I think you need to change anyway. Come on down, see if you can reinvent yourself down here. And I've been in Florida now 11 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously you like it. You've been there for over a decade.
The weather, hard to beat. It's hard to beat.
Especially in the winter months. I can dig it.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
So let's talk about your early journey, man. Fortune over fame. Talk about your journey starting off, coming up in Columbus. Like what side of town you grew up on? What were some of the things that inspired you when you were younger?
Sure. So I'm originally from Youngstown, Ohio. Mother moved me from Youngstown to Columbus at a pretty young age. Came to Forest Park Village on the north side. And then I was there for maybe a year or two, and I moved to Columbus. Well, I'm sorry, I moved to Gahanna. So everything was new for me. When I came to Columbus, people made fun of me the way I spoke because in Youngstown, everything is cat. This cat, this cat. That's just how we talk. Our slang from a very small neighborhood, and we had our own slang and everything. So everybody's like, man, what are you talking about? What is this dude talking about? And then when I came to Gahanna, it was a true culture shock because I had never been around certain cultures. I came from a certain neighborhood with a certain demographic, and it was diverse, but a certain type of diversity without me digging into it. So Gahanna was a little bit different, but it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me because I met a lot of other kids and a lot of other families were parents who wanted better for their kids, just like my mother did. So I met people from DC and New York, and I started to meet people from different areas in Columbus. Then as I got older, I started venturing out. What is Columbus about? Because I had no clue what Columbus was about. I didn't know Columbus had inner cities. I'm from an inner city.
Right.
So I'm like, in a suburb, I just didn't know how to move and navigate. As I got older and I started to venture out, I'm like, oh, okay, Columbus has this, Columbus has this. Then I started getting into the scene. And I think what really introduced me into like fashion and arts and everything was the hip hop scene in Columbus. Third Eye Megahertz, Rashad, the Groove Shack, High Street, the 90s, Coming Home, the Block Party, like that, North Lamar, East Lamar, just that's that pivotal time where Columbus was just really, really shaking. And I just really fell in love with the culture here. I transitioned to fashion later in life, but it started out with hip hop. And I realized, I'm like, oh man, there's a lot of dope MCs out here. I'm not as good. Let me take a step back.
Oh, you was rapping back then?
Yeah. I was dabbling.
You was spitting that man.
I was dibbling dabbling, but it was nothing serious. But the thing is, I was just tied into that hip hop culture. And of course, with the culture, you have a lot of different things that form that essence, whether it be film, whether it be graffiti, whether it be fashion, what have you. So I was dug into it. And, I went off to college and a lot of other things transpired, but one day it clicked because I always thought I was fly. I always thought I could dress and all my guys could dress. And then, I was just like, I want to try my own thing. And I don't want to skip too far in the story. But I eventually wanted to try my own thing. But the roots, the ideas that you see today came from what I see on a day-to-day basis between Columbus, Ohio, and probably Brooklyn, New York.
So that's dope. So there was like a merging of the two cultures within the city.
Definitely.
Okay.
Because I was blessed enough. So my parents got divorced when I was very young. And like I told you earlier, my father lived in Brooklyn. So I got a chance to go every summer, probably like when I was like 8, 9, 10 years old. And I knew of hip hop at a young age. I got access to it when I went to New York.
Right.
I got access to it when I went to Brooklyn. My brother showed me what it was. Like I got engulfed in it. So I had a totally different understanding when I came back. Like, you remember when dudes in New York was wearing goggles? You're like, what is this? You know, it's just different things. Like, what's going on? Why everybody got a book bag on? Like, what is this? Yeah. So I got a chance to just experience it.
That's interesting. You know, I grew up in New Jersey.
Okay.
And I didn't move to Columbus till I was 15. And I remember when I first moved here, going to school, people were talking about me just with my accent. You don't realize you have an accent until you get to a different place. Just the way I say my name, Sean. Everybody else here says Sean. And that sounded foreign to me. I grew up on soda, but here it's pop, what I'm saying? But talk about so you ran in some circles, you mentioned some names. I don't know how tight-knit you were with those names, the Third, Rashad and all of that. That's family.
That's family
to me.
Yeah, that's family.
So when did you start to really dive into fashion?
I didn't start to dive into fashion from a business space until my later years in college.
Okay.
When I say later years in college and diving in, getting T-shirts, getting blanks, going to join fabrics, getting letters, sewing them on, pressing them on, making my own little shirts and stuff like that, but nothing where I felt like I could replicate it or sell it. My thing was I just wanted to look different.
Gotcha.
That was always my thing. I wanted to wear something that I knew no one else can get. But I did the same thing that we all did. Cross colors, Jinko. I did all of that.
Right.
But I didn't know how to dress. I was fly, but I didn't know how to dress. And what I mean,
Yeah, talk about that, because there's a lot of men, they need coaching on that, man.
Just because you buy the matching outfit that's fly doesn't mean that you know how to dress, because you didn't put it together.
Right.
It's just a top and a bottom that matches. But back in the late 80s, early 90s, that was acceptable. Like you go get the Carl Kanai outfit, it's the same colors as shirt and shorts. That's a fit. Right. You fly. Yeah. But you didn't put that together.
Yeah.
It's
you didn't accessorize it.
Not at all. Not at all. It wasn't until I got older. Now you put pieces together.
So who taught you that?
My mother.
Okay.
My mother went to Fashion Institute and Technology in New York. My mother, I know diamonds, I know furs. That's what my mother was into. My mom is cold. Okay, any of my friends will tell you that. My mom is cold.
So share a little nugget that the novice person watching this interview wouldn't know about furs. What's something intricate that you've learned about furs?
Long hair, short hair. That's probably the first thing. How do you keep it up? A fur needs to be weatherized. Like, you have to put it away. And so if you go to the fur vault, they're going to give you a certain type of bag. There's a certain type of temperature of fur, depending if it's short hair or long hair, that it needs to stay in for it to keep its look and keep its shine. There's a lot of things that go to it. Some fox is going to shed. Mink is it going to shed? So it's a lot of things that you need to know. Mink you can wear in any weather. Furs aren't just for the winter. Depending if it's short hair, long hair, the weight.
It reminds me, I didn't mean to cut you off, that Michael Irving, the new series on Netflix.
When he wore it
with the court, it was like 90 degrees outside. He went with a trench mink on.
But it was probably light.
Yeah. So, how old were you when you started taking to the furs and diamonds, running from your mom?
Probably 11, 12 years old.
So not many 11 or 12-year-olds are intrigued with this. What was it that inspired you? And then how did your mom pour into you? Like,
it's a great question. I was just always attentive and listening. My mother's a world traveler. I would always hear her talk about how she would go to different countries to buy diamonds. That's the best place to buy diamonds. So it's just hearing these type of conversations. And she always had furs. And, it was always me and her, because my parents got divorced when I was very young. So I was like her little sidekick. So if she's going out shopping and stuff like that, I'm just always there. And my mother always had a pretty decent job, and she dressed up every day. She was always sharp. And when my friends came around, I'll give you a quick story. My friends come around. I remember going to like Flyers, right? Now you had to be, I think, 18, but we're sneaking in 15, 16, and this will give you an idea.
You were one of those ones.
Oh yes,
It's like,
yeah. So this will give you an idea on how my mother used to give us the game. My mother used to tell me all the time, I can't outthink a man, but I can outthink most women. So she's giving us dating game from young. She's giving us how your appearance. She just constantly feeding into us. So we're going out to Flyers. Me and my boys, we're getting dressed. And I remember she walked past the room and, where y'all going? Oh, we going out to this club. You know, you got to be grown, but we know how to get in there. Da da da. Okay, well y'all be safe. She watching us get dressed, and she said, "Okay, what you got on? What you got on? Oh yeah, the women, they gonna love us young boys." So she come in there, she wiping us off, but we didn't have haircuts, right? But we had on the clothes, and she said, "I just want to tell y'all something. Girls like boys who could dress. Women like men who are well groomed. Go get a haircut next time." When we were young, it went over our head, but as I got older, well groomed,
yeah,
in comparison to being well dressed. Huge difference.
yeah,
Huge difference. Because it don't matter how sharp your suit is. If you're not together here, you look a mess.
yeah,
But you could throw on a suit that's, but if you come clean,
right,
you clean.
yeah,
So those type of jewels, I mean, she was always dropping those nuggets. But I was just always listening like, but it didn't hit till I got older.
yeah,
Now when you start dating, and then you start dating older women, then you understand handsome. You know, they're not saying, oh, he fine, he handsome.
that's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
You have a different understanding. So that's just an example.
That's good. That's a lot of game, and we could do a whole podcast on just that alone. Because it's funny, I was just having a conversation probably about an hour ago with someone. We were talking about. She was asking me about someone specific, a student, you know, to mentor them and talk to them about grooming and hygiene and how important that is and stuff, especially when you walk into a room, man.
Of course.
So you were getting game from your mother at an early age. It didn't click till you got a little older. And she's a world traveler, stamps on the passport, showing you all these exotic things. When did you start to implement that into your own wardrobe? You know what I'm saying? And stepping outside.
So I remember in college, like the first time I got a hold of like a Louis Vuitton bag, right? I'm not sure if it was real or not, but I know it wasn't real because I got it in New York on Canal Street. But I brought it back to college and I told my roommate, I'm like, let's cut it up and let's put pieces on our Timbs. He was like, what? I'm like, yeah, everybody wearing Timbs, but we gonna say we got the Louis Timbs. And we did it. And people were like, yo, where you get that? Oh my God, they got the Louis Timbs. That was the first aha. I was like, okay, let me start trying something different. So like I said, I just started trying to put little pieces together, but it wasn't until fast forward, very much fast forward. I came back to Columbus and then I started thinking about, so when I came back, I was a promoter. That's where I did pretty much like my college career. So fashion was always in the background, but I didn't know how.
Where'd you say you go to school?
I did in college?
Yeah.
I did my undergrad at Eastern Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah, and I went to school with a lot of dudes from Columbus up there.
Gotcha.
So came back, wanted to do fashion, didn't know how. One of my guys introduced me to Red Monkey. So he was like, man, remember Red Monkey jeans?
Oh, no, that was a brand?
Yeah, what?
I'm not hip.
Oh my God! So Red Monkey jeans had they were the first jeans that had like the big patches on the back with the Chinese writing and all that stuff.
Oh, okay. I never
So-
there.
I didn't either, but he said he had to connect.
Okay.
These jeans were hot. So he was like, I know these couple boutique stores down on High Street. Let's go sell them. You know, we'll create it. I'm like, sure, I'm with you. So I took the jeans down. I'm going store to store. At the same time, me and one of my homeboys, we're saying we're gonna start doing the fashion, like a boutique online. We're gonna call it Foreign Exchange, and the whole thing was how exclusive is your existence. And the Vitruvian man, I think it's called. That's what was the logo. Like we could size any man, but it had to be exclusive. So we think we're on to something. So we're selling these Red Monkey jeans. That's why I sort of find out about China, how to get stuff in. Come to find out, I get a call. The guy says, listen, I just had my rep here from Red Monkey. He said, these are the best fakes he's ever seen. I said, fake? Yeah, can you come pick this stuff up? So I go to my guy. I said, man, you got me going store to store, dropping off on consignment, fake jeans. He tried to act like he didn't know. But that was my first introduction. Like, what? Okay, hold on. So if I'm going to put my name on something, it needs to be on a certain level. And how are you getting these? You have a connect in China? Ah, okay. Let me start doing some research. So these are the light bulbs going off. So I'm like, this is something I want to do. I didn't know how. It wasn't until I moved to Florida that I really started diving into how do I really get into fashion. And that was during, and again, I don't want to jump over, any questions you have, but that was during the pandemic.
Gotcha.
That's when it was like, that's when I really could say that I honestly sat down, drilled down on how can I do this for real? How can I make money off this? How does this happen? How can I put pieces together?
Yeah.
And that was during the pandemic because we had nothing to do.
And so that's a dope story, man. And it's a testament to whatever seeds that were planted into you by your parents. It was there, you know what I'm saying? It was there because when you listen, like most, young people in college, they're not, trying to figure out how to, let's cut this bag up and put it on our boots. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when you said you was in high school, you going to Joann's, you're getting lettering on a t-shirt just to be different.
Just trying something different.
You've always had that in you, it sounds like.
Definitely.
So when you start to do a deep dive during the pandemic, what did you find out? Like, what was the first couple of things that you really?
Yeah. So the pandemic, a lot, and I've told the story a few times, so I don't want to be redundant, but a lot of things were cheap because, you just didn't really know what it was, what the pandemic was. So a lot of things were on sale. So I'm buying clothes with nowhere to wear them. I say all the time I was getting dressed up to go to the living room. And I'm like, okay, I'm tired of spending money with other people and other places. I'm going to try to create something. So I started with hats. I started buying blank hats. I found a company that would create patches. I was getting the patches sewed on. And I was spending a lot of money going through these different processes. And I reached out to a cousin of mine who lived in Alabama. And he said, well, there's a place that they do it all for you. They'll create it for you. I'm like, what? And he sent a sample of a jacket to my house. And I was blown away because the jackets I was selling, I was going to like an Army fatigue store and then sewing patches on it, sewing my tag in it. It wasn't mine. And I had, again, so many different steps in the process. And he sent me a jacket that had a tag in it that he created for me, my logo. And I was like, what? How? And he did the one thing people don't do.
Share the information.
Share the information. Yeah. He gave me the direct contact to the manufacturer. And from that point on, I was on and running. That was it. That changed everything. I mean, everything. I just didn't know.
So what was did you have Fortune Over Fame at that time?
I had Fortune Over Fame. And I had Fortune Over Fame. I started with making hats, Ohio hats, Ohio-driven hats, basically, with Ohio logos. And so I would do, like, instead of Akron, I had Ackroyd. Instead of Youngstown 330, like the Yo MTV raps, I had I was flipping Ohio stuff. And it was working. People were buying them. And it was cool. I was using blank auto hats, stuff like that. It was working, but I sold 50 hats in a day.
Yeah.
The next time I read up, I sold 100 hats.
Where were you at?
I was living in Florida. I was shipping.
Just
word of mouth.
Online?
So I called my friends and said, man, I had these Ohio hats I want to try. And, your people will support you. And I sold like 40 friends. I called 40 friends, do me a favor and buy this hat. They wore them, came back to me like, yo, such and such said he want one. I replicated. I sold like 80 to 100. Then I got, I created a little cheap website on Wix, put the hats on, so 100, 150. And now I can track where I'm shipping them to, and the emails and stuff. So how'd you hear about this? Oh, I've seen such and such. I'm like, I'm on to something.
Yeah.
And around the same time, I got the jacket from my cousin. It was over.
Your creativity is through the freaking roof.
Thank you.
I gotta commend you on that because anybody and their mama can make a hat. You know what I'm saying? But the creativity that you do with these iconic symbols and incorporating it with your home state, like who's not gonna buy that? You know what I'm saying? If you're from Ohio, talk about that creativity. Let's tap into that. Where's that coming from? What, you know, I know it's legal now. Is it you got to stay off? No, I'm just joking, man. But where are you getting that creative inspiration for these creations?
When it started, my first question to myself, would you wear it? And if you would, how would it hit? How would it grasp your attention? I started with Ohio because Ohio is the foundation, and I know about Ohio loyalty. We are loyal to the Ohio brand. We are loyal to the Ohio State brand. So I knew if I could come up with something that represented that brand that I'm speaking about, that brand that we respect so much, I knew they would work. So that's why I started with Ohio branded hats. Youngstown, Columbus, Cincinnati. Instead of Cincinnati Reds, Cincinnati Get Bread. Little things like that. How could I flip it?
Right.
Where you would mind wearing it because it's representing where you're from. That brand loyalty, that brand awareness, and that's what clicked. That's why people, I support it, and it's supporting the crib. I'm with it. You know, like if you had, remember Columbus chill. Columbus don't chill. Little stuff like that. How can I just tweak it a little bit? Why I can make it mine? I could take what's ours, but make it mine.
Yeah.
And it worked. And like I said, that was just the step.
Yeah.
That was just a step to get some brand awareness, get some loyalty, and then try to go from there.
Does that naturally come to you? Like when you see a brand or something like that, it's just, like you hear like some, you know, musical savants like Pharrell talks about he sees music in colors. Kanye says the same thing.
I could believe that.
With you and fashion, is that similar to you? You could see his jacket, my man Chris running the camera right there. Like, man, I could see something on the sleeve with that. Is that how you visualize fashion?
Yes. But I didn't know what it was. I didn't know. I looked at it like that, but I didn't know how to identify it. I didn't know that's what it was. Like I was looking at it like, oh, that would be dope if that was there. But I didn't know like it meant something. If I don't know if that makes sense. Like I didn't know I was identifying it when I saw it.
Right.
I was just like, oh, that would be different if it were like that. Yeah. So to answer your question, yes. But as far as the hats, I was just trying to find ways to freak it and get people engaged and intrigued.
I think that's what most, creatives do is they're inspired by something that they like, but then they's like, only if I could do it like this. And then that inspires you to create that there, if you take action on it. So you had a fortune over fame. When did, I wanted to ask you, who taught you how to sew?
So my mother.
Okay.
Now I'm not the best.
Okay.
I'm not the best, and that's just me being honest. But my mother, she used to make her own stuff. I mean, I could put furniture together and everything. We didn't have a lot, but we had. But to give you an example, when the dining room set get old, take it off and to go into Gentleman Fabrics, get you some fabric, refurniture it, like refinish it. I did that 100 times with my mom. The table is good, the chairs is good. It's just the padding that wore down, the seating that wore down. Unscrew that, take that off.
Yeah.
Go buy the fabric you like. Man, I'd seen it 100 times.
Right.
So just seeing. So I went to a school called Watkins Christian Academy. Right, K through 12. This school is probably where I learned survival, and I learned how to crack jokes, because we used to snap. And I went to a school that was in a different projects. And I was being shipped there, bused there. And they're like, you're not from around here. So I'm on a bus with kids from all over, but the main projects, you're not from over here. Always cracking jokes. But I come from a neighborhood that know how to snap. So I was always quick. So that's how I sort of got my pass. Anyway, at this school on Halloween, they would do Halloween costume contests with characters from the Bible. And they would give out, let's say, maybe $50 or something like that. And my mom dressed me in some outfit, and I went, and you had to like do a poem or present in front of the whole school. I went one time and got third place. My mom said that would never happen again. I never got anything less than first place from every time I went in there. And she would sit home and sew my outfits. I came as Moses. I came as Noah. Everybody you could think of. But I remember her, and I'm talking about coming in late. I remember coming to class, like coming with my outfit on, cats were like, oh my God. Like they be in there with their little, they have their cotton on their,
Yeah, as soon as you walk in, like I love her. That lost.
I'm coming with the satin. I mean, it was rap. So she was already putting it into me. I just didn't know.
Right.
But, man.
So she taught you about fabrics as well?
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's fast forward, man. The brand partnerships, man. I remember when I moved back to Columbus and I got back on the radio here, and I started seeing my peers out with these dope jackets. I'm like, man, these jackets is fly. And they all had your logo on it, and at the time I didn't know who you were. But I always like see my peers. DJ Mr. King had one, City had Dommy Styles had one. I'm like, man, this is fly. And I would ask them, where you get that from? Oh, that's right. Everybody assume I know everybody because they forget that I moved away for like 12 years. They're like, yeah, this Raheem, like, I don't know him. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I always heard your name, but I always seen it from afar and appreciated it. When did you start to pivot and started to do those kind of things and putting it on the local celebrities and stuff like that? Because then that fast forward, I want you to talk about that and then how it fast forward to now your shirt is being worn by our friend Jay Rawls and seen on Jimmy Fallon, on national TV in front of millions of people. Like, talk about that process.
Yeah, so I had a friend who is very wealthy, and she saw what I was doing with the Ohio stuff, and I would reach out to her like, hey, I want you to invest. I want you to invest. And she told me, stop calling me. If you want to talk business, you come to my home or you come where I'm at. She lived in Charlotte. I flew there. I packed up all my sweatshirts and stuff. I flew there and I sat down with her and I'm bringing out the sweatshirts and stuff, all Ohio stuff. This is where everything changed for me. She said, she's looking at, she's like, you know what? Forget Ohio. Excuse me. I'm like, forget Ohio. She used to live in Ohio at one point in time. I'm like, forget Ohio? What do you mean? She said, the name of your company is Fortune Over Fame? I said, yeah. She said, well, you're putting yourself in a corner. You're doing all this Ohio stuff. Fortune Over Fame is a lifestyle. You should showcase what that looks like. That's what clicked. You're right. Fortune, it just... She said, but don't leave Ohio because Ohio is your foundation. Do something for Ohio, but try to showcase what Fortune Over Fame looks like. Think broader. She wrote me a check and said, get to work. I was gone. I was gone because as soon as I got back, okay, what is Fortune Over Fame? Now I'm asking myself, I like the name, and I used to say chase the fortune, not the fame, because my whole thing was everybody wants to be famous. Like this around the time, remember like when social media really hit, TikTok and all that hit, and then people were starting to do anything
for attention.
Yeah. I was like, man, I hate this. Okay, so what's the opposite of the fame? People, they're doing it to get rich, but what about the fortune? Okay, let's try to showcase what that looks like. And my thing was, I want to talk and preach life. I don't want to preach death. You're never going to see skulls and crossbones and that type of stuff. That just wasn't my thing. How can I get your wheels turning? That's why you see the anti-gentrification jackets. That's why you see the hood has always been beautiful. That's why you see, those type of statements. I'm trying to uplift you. Again, I'm trying to speak life. I'm trying to come from a positive space. And how can we do that? Fashion. Because we tear each other down through music, but you got to put on clothes.
Right.
You go put on Gucci, you go put on Nautica, and not to knock any other brand, but it never has a statement that's uplifting. Now you see everybody doing the gospel stuff, the religion stuff. I'm not. Who am I to say if they're really walking that life?
Right.
I get it and I respect it. But my thing was, I want to try to put something out that I stand for that can uplift people. That's when the change comes. Okay, so what is fortune over fame? I'm always going to do Ohio based stuff because I love where I'm from and that brand loyalty. But I said, okay, how can I try to uplift my people, which is all people, and try to change people's way of thinking through fashion? That's where you start seeing the statements. And that started to work for me. And I told you earlier, I used to be a promoter. So when I thought that I had something that was worth people's time, I went back to the Rolodex. I went back to the people who I built relationships with through promotions. So that's how the Dead Prayers and Talib Kweli's and the Erica Badu's and those people. And I asked them the same strategy I used when I was a promoter. Can you introduce me to your circle? You know, I'm a stand-up dude. You know, I do good business, and I think I have something that's quality.
Absolutely.
Can you stamp it? You think it's quality? Do you think such and such will wear it? Yes. And then,
Yeah. And if you look online, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see pictures, videos, Busta Rhymes, like he said, Talib Kweli, Erica Badu, so many others. And you about to be partnering with some others here today, like this week, right?
Yeah.
You
So
care to share or?
no, not at all, not at all. So J Ross, let me make sure I big him up. Gunshot for J Ross.
What's up with Ross? It's my
So
brother.
I have to speak about the Jimmy Fallon because he told me that he was doing a joint. Well, I was sending him clothes, and he was on tour in Europe, and he was sending me the pictures of him wearing it with De La Soul and Mos Def and Kweli, and I was like, I have a relationship with Kweli. I've done some stuff with him before, and we were talking. He's like, well, me and Kweli have an album coming out, and I was like, what? And you know, he said, yeah, we have a single Native Sons, and I'm like, well, how can I be down? And he said, well, we have some artwork, but let's work on something. So we worked on something, put it together. He's like, I like that. I was like, really? You like it? He's like, yeah. He said, man, I got the word that we're going to be in Jimmy Fallon. I said, man, seriously? He's like, and I would like to wear something that's going to be different. I said, man, do you mind? Can I put some mock-ups together for you? And again, to be honest, he walked me through it because every time I send something to him, he's like, yeah, but how about this? Yeah, but how about this? And I sent him something. And he was like, that's it. And he told me when he was going to be in New York for Jimmy Fallon, I happened to be there at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So I made sure he got him. I went to the show. I actually got a chance because Black Thought and the Roots, I had a relationship with Black Thought because I met him at Dave Chappelle's. So he gave me the tickets. I got a chance to see the whole production live. So it was mind blowing. So ever since then, and even prior to that, J. Ross was like, man, I like your stuff. I'll support you, the home team. So he's always been supportive. Today, he's going to give me an opportunity to meet Pete Rock. I have some stuff for Pete Rock as well.
Dope.
And it's just been aligning myself with like-minded individuals that will speak highly of you in rooms that your feet haven't entered.
I want to piggyback on that, but real quick, I just want to say publicly, and I've said this to him personally, how proud I not only I could speak for the city of Columbus that night when he aired on Jimmy Fallon, how happy we were. Charles, you went back there. I was literally on my couch, you know, and it took it was late, you know what I'm saying? But I was on my couch cheesing ear to ear,
man.
elated with genuine happiness for our brother Jay Ross that made it to Jimmy Fallon, you know what I'm saying? And then wearing our Ohio own brand, like go back and watch the video when Jay Ross and Talib Kweli performed, you know, and it was dope. It was high energy. Man, that is amazing, man.
How you think I felt?
I'm genuinely happy for you.
I was like, man, I mean, and he was, you know, J. Ross is just, he's aloof. He's not loud. And I always tell
He's a humble giant.
He's a humble giant.
Yeah.
I tell him all the time, you don't know what people see in you. Sometimes you just don't know. And I saw him backstage beforehand, and he was like, man, I'm nervous. I'm like, dog, a Black Thought and Questlove just came in here and was dapped you. I'm like, and I was telling him, he was like, yeah, but that's Questlove, and that's such. I'm like, no, those are your peers.
Mm-hmm.
You putting them on this pedestal, which we all do.
Right.
But they're looking at you like these are your peers. Yeah. You that dude. Right. And then when the show came, I'm watching it like, I can't believe this.
And he nailed it too, man.
He killed it.
He killed
it. And then they had an after party in Brooklyn I went to, And he was just, I told the story before, he was just standing there looking at the screen. And I was like, yo, you good? He's like, I just want to know how good, if I did good. I'm like, bro, like, but I just let him, just let him be who he is. And he's just an amazing dude. And he just wants to put on and do and create art and curate art. And I did J. Ross's, one of his album release parties. I promoted it at the Cove many, many years ago. This one I knew he was a different dude. This is my first time meeting him. I got linked with him and had an opportunity to do the party. When I first met him, he brought his parents to the album release. I knew right then he was different. I knew right, because I'm just like, I knew of his music, but I never met him. He introduced me to his father. I'm like, this dude brought his parents. It's just like, he's a different type of dude.
He is, man.
Different type of dude.
He's special. I'll tell you some stuff off the air about me and Jay Ross's relationship. But lastly, man, talk about the importance of relationships, because everything that you talked about, it ties into that. One of the things that I share with my students here at the Ohio Media School is who you know will get you in the door, but what you know will keep you in the building. So I encourage everybody to develop relationships, but just as importantly, continue to learn. Talk about the importance of relationships.
That's it. I'm a big networker. Some people like people. I don't like people. I love people. Network is my thing. That's what I do. And where Fortune Over Fame is at now, it's due to, of course, hard work. The brand has changed. The statements have become stronger. What we stand for has become stronger and a lot more relevant today, but it's all on the back of networking. And what I mean by that is, it feels good that, prime example, when I went to, Jay Ross couldn't get me in Jimmy Fallon. He probably could have if he would have tried, but Jay is like, I can only get you so far. But I had a contact with Black Thought through a network that I met through N1 from Dead Prayers, who I met at Dave Chappelle's. So it's like, but as crazy as they're all in the same circle. I met Charles Ewing through J. Ross, and now me and Charles are partnering on something. And now we just had a conference call with Sky Zoo, who we're doing something with, but Sky Zoo had already met Charles through their own little path. But now he sees that we're connected. Yeah. J. Ross, of course, and Charles are already connected. I've done something for Dave Chappelle before. Charles was already at Dave Chappelle's. So it's just like connecting those dots.
And then how we finally got to meet. We've been DMing each other for over a year.
Could have walked past each other in the street, wouldn't even known each other.
And we almost did. Like, I was literally in the audio production studio talking to the team back there. You were getting ready to leave, walk down the steps. I greeted you. You turned back around and came back. Man, I'm fortunate. I'm Raheem. I'm like, dang. And we just been missing each other. But I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that everything is supposed to happen when it's supposed to happen.
Definitely. And like, it's very important how you treat people, and for people to speak up for you, and for people to cheer for you. Like, and I know we're running short on time, but when I reached out to, I have to share the story. When I reached out to Spliff Star, I reached out to him and asked him, can I send him some gear? He circled back and said, yeah, and shot me an address. And then I got a DM from a young lady who sent me the same address. I'm like, who is this? And I was going to say, hey, Spliff, man, somebody's obviously had your account, but I didn't. He reached out and said, that's my best friend since middle school. She like my assistant, my manager, work with her. Cool. Name is Miss D. I got to shout out Miss D. Fast forward, I come to, me and Miss D build a relationship. I fly to New York, hang out with her. She's like, I grew up in Brooklyn. I know all the artists. And I have this liquor, the liquor I gifted you.
By the way, thank you very much.
Juju Vodka.
Juju Vodka, thank you.
She made me a brand ambassador, Juju Vodka.
Congratulations on that. And thank you for the bottle.
Went back to New York. I got introduced to Busta Rhymes and, of course, Split Star, and I had them wear my stuff in London because of Miss D.
Wow.
So that's just, again, the connections. A person who's speaking up for me, who say, I think this guy's a good guy. He does good business. He's worth your time.
Yeah.
Bro, I sat in a studio, in Quiet Studios with Busta Rhymes until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, listening to his whole new album. I'm just like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But now when I get on calls with these certain artists, now I have to definitely big up Charles, because when we get on calls, he has a relationship with this artist that he may have built 15 years ago. And I have a relationship with the artist I may have built 5 years ago. And now that they see that we're working together.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it also lets me know that God is working.
Yeah.
Put pieces together.
Yeah.
It's like the puzzle is just coming together. You just have to be humble and you have to be patient. And patience is very important, because a lot of times, and I say it's the most with me and Fortune Over Fame, my story, because I've had situations where I was there and I messed up the money. I was there and I didn't know what to do because I wasn't ready. I'm ready now.
Yeah.
When I was doing hats and patches and stuff, I wasn't ready. Well, I didn't have a manufacturer. Now I have a contracts with manufacturers. I'm ready now. Now I can sit down and I know the talk. Now I know the right people. I'm ready now.
That your story is so inspiring, man. And I just congratulate you on your success. What's next for Raheem and the brand Fortune Over Fame? What's in the immediate future and long term? Where do you see this going? Are you going to sell it to a bigger, what are your goals?
So right now we're locked in with Dead Prayers. They're on their 25-year anniversary of their iconic album, Let's Get Free. Myself and Charles, we're designing their tour jacket. We're collaborating on a capsule for them. Just signed a contract with Split Star to work on Mr. Lewis collection with him. Busta Rhymes, of course, he wore my jacket in London. He's interested, so we're trying to work out some kinks there. We just had a call with Sky Zoo. We're working on the jacket with him. Also working on Jerobi from Tribe Called Quest. He just purchased a horse racing team. We're working on his merchandise as well. Met him through N1, through Dead Prez. Also got a chance to introduce Jerobi to J. Ross. You know how that made me feel? I got a chance to introduce Jerobi to J. Ross.
That's crazy.
I'm trying to think what else is on the table, because I know we're running. A few other things. But the end goal is to be in department stores, and stand for something, and get a lot of these other Black artists and iconic people who have power and who have access to money to put that Black dollar behind Black creators.
Right.
And let's support something that stands for something. I'm cool with Gucci and all that other stuff, but the only thing you could do is wear it. Don't say nothing. Don't stand for nothing. Right. And we know the person behind that doesn't even come from our community. So let's try to uplift each other. So that end goes department stores and keep pushing this message called positivity.
Well, how can people get in contact with you, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. On Instagram, Fortune Over Fame Clothing. On Facebook, Fortune Over Fame. And I'm open to anything. I'm a fan of constructive criticism. You clicking on the website, you clicking on the Instagram or any social media is a blessing. I appreciate even the effort. If you reach out to me and say, I didn't like that sweatshirt, thank you, brother, because that lets me know you took the time. And your words mean everything to me. If you want to partner, if you want to sit down, I'm open to it all. I don't turn my back on anything. I don't turn down nothing but my collar. So please feel free to reach out.
I love it, man. Raheem Ewing, thank you, man. Fortune Over Fame. Y'all go support it. Appreciate you chopping it up with me on Sean Anthony Live.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Peace. Respect.
All right.